Hey there everybody, we're going to be doing some practice packing here because we are off to Florida tomorrow. So now I've got all the equipment lined up and now I'm going to set this up and we're going to do some practice packing of the boat so that when we get down to the water, then we can kind of figure out where things go beforehand to make it a lot easier when we're down there, as well as it helps me learn more of what I kind of want distribution wise, because we've got a lot of equipment that we need to distribute throughout the boat. There's different thoughts on a lot of it, of priority use, other things like weight distribution. So lots of factors to keep in mind, but I want to take you guys along as we practice packing the boat here so that we can then be more efficient when we get down onto the water. So we've got 3 different hatches on the boat here. We've got the big one up at the front, but then we've also got 2 smaller ones in the mid and aft end of the boat here. What that is important then is because there are certain things that can only fit in certain areas, particularly things like laptop cases and camera cases aren't gonna fit in the hole of the center or back because that only has a diameter of 8 inches. So knowing that I have to put these 2 things up front means that I have to put other things in the back that weigh just as much, if not a little bit more. What I've found with this boat is I want it to be, if anything, a little stern heavy so that when going through water it's a little bit better than being a little bow heavy. So back here on these Hobie boats, they also give you a spare rudder pin, which is super awesome. I thankfully, knock on wood, if I can find some, have not broken a rudder pin. But that is also one of the containers that I'm carrying with me is a set of spare parts, because you can never have enough spare parts. Let's try packing all this in here. There's some serious puzzle solving to go on right now. You've already seen a little bit of it. But we've got most of our equipment on here, so take a look. So below us here, there used to be all of the dry bags, and now just about all of them are inside the boat. Two last things I'm figuring out is my tripod bag and my sunshade. The sunshade, I think, can sit on the boat when it's on the water. The tripod can't get wet. It was in a bag before during the shakedown trip, but now we need to figure out how it's getting stored here because we've got a little bit more of equipment. We're really close, really close. Problem solving time. So let's give a quick breakdown of how I've packed things here and kind of where things are at distribution wise. Now this also will probably change throughout the project because we're on the water for 4 months. So on our back hatch here, we've got just a couple of things. Down in there I've got, this is my battery packs and my chargers and all of that. And then just forward of that, we've got my 2 clothes bags. Now the reason I have 2 clothes bags is I've got one for street clothes and then also one for boat clothes. In the center compartment here, this is going to be my main point of access when I am on the water. So here I've got my raincoat and rain pants, I've got mini tripods and camera accessories. I've also got, then back here I'm going to have extra batteries for the GoPro and a battery bank if I need to charge things throughout the day. And that's all I've got there. Quick access, as well as I will also have my tablet down here for chart plotting. Speaking of charts, fits directly underneath my seat. I've got my chart book here, so that even when I've got my GPS, I also have paper charts to go off with. Moving up to the front hatch. In the front hatch here, all the way up at the front, probably can't even see it, is I've got my kind of miscellaneous tools and extra medical equipment beyond what I've got readily handy. I've got my sleeping arrangements. I've got my cooking accessories. Back here, I've got food, 2 bags of food, laptop case, and camera bag. And the tripods are tucked way back in there because I will not need those terribly often. So that's just a little overview of all of my equipment. Actually, one more. So up on deck here, I've also got one of my crates, my backpack that will hold my water bladder, and then this extra little cushion here is a Type 4 PFD that is regulated by the Coast Guard. So I've got my chest PFD, but then I've also got my Type 4 secondary backup as well. Then I've also got my secondary crate here that's gonna have my anchor lines and some snacks, water, and then also my bow and stern lights. And that's just about everything. Overall, I think we're really well set up. We've got tons of time for the rest of the day to get all of the rest of this lined up, packed up, double checked, triple checked all of the equipment. And before we know it, we're gonna be on the water. So I hope you guys will continue to follow along, and let's get on down to Florida. If you guys have any thoughts on how I could pack this better, or different ways I could distribute things, or really any tips or tricks that you have used when using this boat or any other kind of boat, whether you're a dinghy cruiser or an adventure island cruiser, tandem island cruiser, or if you have your own sailboat, how do you pack your boat? Because I guarantee you everyone has their own ways. So please go down in the comments, let me know how you guys pack your boats. And let's make this a collaborative effort so we can all continue to learn things. I've been amazed at a lot of the comments that I've gotten already, asking about a few different things that I have on the boat. One recently that I'm sure many of you other viewers might be thinking is what I've got right here. This is a mount for navigation lights. So no, I am not planning on doing any kind of nighttime cruising, but it's better to have them than not. Additionally, it's good to have navigation lights, both a bow light as well as an all-around white light on the stern if there's fog. Now, I don't want to completely stop my sailing if there is fog, so being able to have a sound-producing device like a whistle and lights really helps me feel more safe on the water in fog. Like you guys saw in my day 1 shakedown video when I was down in Tampa, I had my nav lights on then, and I felt a lot better because it was really foggy. I could not see the other side of Tampa Bay. Now, obviously, there are a few other components missing from my packing here on this boat because I don't have the ACAs and AMAs in place. So I also wanted to answer those questions that you guys probably have of what else am I putting on this boat? And there's one really important thing that I haven't packed here that's really important, and that's my sleeping tent. So for my tent, I'm using a Camprite cot tent, which I've got right here. This bad boy right here is what I sleep in. Now, obviously, that cannot fit inside the boat. You've watched some of my other videos, particularly I would say probably day 2 of my shakedown. You can see me packing up, setting up, and the picture that I have of when I set up the tent on this boat. The storage of it, you probably don't see the black bag itself on the boat, but I have it wrapped up in that tarp you see there, that brown and silver. I have it wrapped up and actually have it stored on the right trampoline strapped down there. So that is going to be a really important thing that I have on the starboard side, but obviously we need to balance things out. So I've got my anchors, lines, and whatnot on then the port side to try and even things out a little bit. Now, one thing that I think is going to be really interesting to see things going forward is as I store things on the tramps for multiple months, 4 months on this trip here, I'm really interested to see how well the tramps hold up. Do they get stretched out? Do they end up ripping? Do they end up being totally fine? For those of you that have had Hobies for a while, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you stored things on the tramps for a long time? And have you noticed any kind of ripping, tearing, shredding, weakening of any kind? Let me know what you've done, because this is my first longer trip in this boat. Yeah, I've done 4 days, but this is now 4 months project. By this time, I am well on my way going up through Florida. So please go on over, click the Where is Will button or the Where is Will tab on the website, and you'll be able to see where exactly I am right now as I make my way up the coast. If you guys are in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, please reach out to me. Instagram, Facebook, website, whatever works best for you. Let me know where you are along the way, and I would love to meet up with you guys. I'm starting tomorrow on my way down to Florida, and then I'm launching on Tuesday, March 10th. So if you guys are on there, let me know at least probably a week ahead of time so that I would love to meet up with any one of you as I make my way north. When you guys watch next week's video, I'm gonna be talking about something that was really hard for me recently. You guys had to see that I had to push back the launch date of the project. And it was not because of me, it was not because of any one of us, but it was because of Mother Nature. Then we had to push it back. So I spent these 3 days kind of like, okay, I guess I can work a little bit more here, work a little bit more there. And yes, in the end, it was a blessing in disguise. But in the moment, it was really hard to process the emotions of getting so ready and then having to stop. And so I'm learning now what it means to kind of take things as they come. And there's gonna be a lot of this during this project. So please stick around till next week. Watch how I process that emotions. If you guys have had problems with Mother Nature as well, share your problems, share your stories down in the comments as well. I think anyone who goes out on the water has some story of a time that they wanted to go out or they were out and Mother Nature had other plans. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you out on the water.